Welcome back. Now, the latest chapter of the border invasion is happening in Del Rio, Texas. And just a few weeks ago, most Americans had never heard of that border town. But after thousands of illegals made their way to a third world style camp, some say fourth, under the international bridge, and trash started to pile up. And you know what happened? There was an American named John Rourke from Jupiter, Florida, who decided to head to Texas on September 10th and 11th to do something about the piles of trash. And he found himself in the middle of a border invasion. And he joins us now. John Rourke, welcome to Dr. Gina Primetime. John, one of the things we hear all the time is that you know, these are people seeking asylum. These are people who are in dire straits from earthquakes, from hurricanes, from really bad situations. You saw something quite a bit more political going on. Tell us.
Yeah, so I was underneath that bridge on 9/11. We did volunteer garbage cleanup. I own Blue Line Moving in Jupiter, Florida. We organize a different cleanup every year. This year we chose Del Rio as the place to do the cleanup. We wanted to do it on 9/11 out of respect to the people that lost their lives on 9/11. And going, you know, the people are still here, and the sons and daughters and husbands and wives that are missing their family members. So we honored them by doing this. And I was underneath that bridge on 9/11. At that point, there were a couple, you know, 1,250 people underneath there, roughly. It's very hard to keep count. They're keeping a rough estimate.
Right.
The people that were underneath that bridge were roughly 85% Haitian. Most of the Haitians that are underneath there are actually coming from Chile. They've been living in Chile since the first earthquake, and so they left that earthquake, lived in Chile, and it wasn't the right time for them to come from Chile to get into the United States. As we know why, President Trump was the president,
right,
and it was hard for them to get through. So now that President Biden became the president, and obviously, you know, told them to surge the border, they're surging the border.
Yeah.
Orders taken, you know, orders given, orders taken.
Right.
So here they are underneath the bridge, and you know, we spoke with a lot of them. They love President Biden. They support him wholly. They're saying the reason why they're able to come here is because of him. They made that emphatically clear. We asked them if they would take the vaccine if it was available.
Let's stop for one second, because we have some footage of this.
Sure.
So we're going to go ahead and roll that. Go ahead.
¿Cómo pasó aquí? Bienvenido a Estados Unidos. Es un buen país. A mí me gusta el país. Saludo a Biden en este momento porque es un presidente de buen corazón. A mí me gusta Biden mucho. Da mucha oportunidad por los haitianos. Ya lo que falta para nosotros es un TPS, después un green card y residencia. Chao Biden, hasta luego. Te quiero mucho.
Luego.
Hasta luego, Biden.
Do you know in particular, John, why they want to be here?
They want to be here for the opportunity. Obviously, it's a better opportunity than where they're coming from. They want to work. They want to make money for their families. They want health care for their families. They want all the things that America provides. That's what they want. They're not fleeing from a war. They're not fleeing from people that are after them to try to kill them or anything.
And were most of them I'm looking at military-aged men.
Correct. Most of them are military-aged men. Probably out of the 85% that are Haitian males there, you know, at least 60% of them were you know, middle-aged, military-aged men in great shape. They just want to come here for the opportunity. They want to work.
Yeah. Another video that you have is you decided that you're there with your company, which is Blue Line Moving, but you go and you pick up trash. You've done this before. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But you decided if you were there picking up trash, maybe the people that you were doing it for that made the mess in the first place could maybe help a little bit. Watch.
So here we are. We're now currently under the overpass going into Mexico. I just decided, screw it, man. These people are able-bodied human beings. They were able to walk this far, they can pick up trash. As you can see, we have some of them right behind us here. They're chipping in, they're helping out, they're cleaning up their area of operation, so to speak, in military terms. And this is what it's supposed to be about, man. This is the United States of America. We do the right thing. We pick up garbage after we are someplace, we clean it up, we make it better than what it was before we got here. And a lot of these people that are crossing here, they need to understand it. When they get here, you can't just come here and just throw your trash everywhere. You gotta clean up after yourself and do the right thing. And some of them are, as you can see, it's working.
Some of them, what was the reception like?
A lot of them were using it, honestly, they were tearing the bags up and then using them to sleep on because they were sleeping in dirt, which I was okay with at that point. You know, it's horrifying to see children of any age sleeping in squalor. But a lot of them were helping, picking up trash. They were happy to pick up trash. So, of course, it was almost like I was giving them something to do to kill the time. And I let them know, like, you got to pick up the trash. You can't just leave it like this. Like, what are we doing here? It's the least that you can do.
Right, exactly, yeah. And then you saw some things that really, really shocked you that I don't think you expected to see. You went down there to clean up trash. I don't think you expected to see exactly what you saw. One of the things was you were literally pulling people out of the Rio Grande. That happened.
Correct, that happened. So on our first day, 9/10, we were cleaning up trash along the border on the Rio. And we just got there probably 15 to 20 minutes on ground. We started picking up all the loose items of clothing. Next thing you know, as you can see on the video, there we are. We're pulling them out of the Rio Grande. We watched the whole process from start to finish of the coyote walking them down the side of the mountain on horseback, to the two men walking these three people to the middle, to the United States side of the river. Then the two guys turned back and went into Mexico, and then these three crossed the Rio and literally right into where we were cleaning up. And next thing you know, I'm pulling this gentleman out of the river, and the lady and the older male, and they literally broke down. The male was crying in tears, saying, "We made it, we made it." They're fleeing Maduro. It's so bad there. They were from Venezuela, so obviously I understand why they're fleeing.
Right.
People are eating out of garbage cans there. So.
Right. There's no question there's a humanitarian crisis on the border. But the problem is that the coyotes are taking advantage of them. The cartels are taking advantage of them. Many of them will end up in a life of crime or worse. And not even to mention what's happening to the women and the children. You saw moms bathing their children in the Rio Grande.
Correct. So the only other time I've seen that happening was in Bosnia in '98 when I was there, when I was in the Army, bathing people in the river water, cleaning their dishes in the river water. It's the same thing underneath the bridge in Del Rio. They're washing their babies in the river water. They're washing themselves in the river water. As you can see here, that little baby, she's about to put her in and clean her in that water. Those gentlemen are cleaning themselves. They're living in squalor. I mean, there are wild animals all over the place. It's 107 degrees there. I feel like until 9 o'clock at night, it feels like it's 107 degrees there. There's no food. They're having to come back and forth into Mexico. They have literally free reign. They go back and forth into Mexico left and right. They told us that there's an account that someone has set up for them in the little supermarket on the other side of the river, where they're able to go and get basic necessities at no cost to them. So they just keep bringing it back and forth. And literally, some of the younger cartel members that were on the other side, in the Acuna side, two of our guys actually went into Acuna and then came back to show how easy it was. And the guys on the other side are literally making money by selling products and running them back and forth to the camp. I mean, they're literally starting businesses inside there.
John, let me ask you, if you had 5 minutes with Joe Biden or Czar Kamala, what would you say to them?
What is going on? What are you doing? We had 20 years to plan the withdrawal in Afghanistan, and your plan that you came up with after having 20 years to plan a withdrawal is people falling from moving planes? Our planes, our military members getting loaded into a back of a C-7 and with people, they don't even know who these people are. They just get into a plane and take off. People are literally falling to their death. That is our plan in Afghanistan. That was the best that we could come up with after 20 years. On the border, I remember my dad talking to his friends in the 80s about how the border was bad. Joe Biden has been in political office for 50 years, as at least a senator at the least. And the borders, I'm talking to my children about the border now.
Yeah.
It's still as bad as it's ever been. And we had a short period of time where we had it under control, and now that has vanished. As if Donald Trump's, everything he did is just poof, is gone. And we have literally people bombarding the border. What are we doing with our Border Patrol agents when we have the Vice President of the United States of America saying on national television, when she knows that those were reins on a horse and that they were not whipping people.
Exactly.
She knows that that's not true, and she's pushing it on those poor Border Patrol agents who are making $60,000 a year, working 16 to 18-hour days in the hot sun on horseback. Have you ever been on horseback for 15 hours?
It's not comfortable.
Okay, that's what those people do every day.
Yeah.
And they bring those diseases, smallpox, tuberculosis, all
Leprosy,
measles, mumps. all of those people, leprosy, they're bringing that home to their families.
Yeah,
and the
terrifying.
Vice President of the United States, the best that she can do to support these people is run them over with a truck, basically.
Yeah,
And
it's terrifying.
it's disgusting.
This wasn't your first time cleaning up trash. My producer really wants me to ask you
Yes.
about when the president, when it was 45, when it was Donald Trump, he made a little comment about Baltimore that we all remember.
Correct.
And you decided, well, I know what to do about that. I know how to clean up trash, and you went there to do that. Tell us.
We did. So when Trump was tweeting about Baltimore, pictures started obviously coming out on social media, and I could not believe that that was the United States.
Yeah.
It was that bad. I said, there's
Yeah.
no way these people are really living like this.
Yeah.
And they were. And so I decided we have to do something about it. So I partnered with a garbage company, Maggio Environmental, out of Long Island. They drove a garbage truck from Long Island to Baltimore. Myself and my crew, I partnered with a couple of companies down south, Elite Metals, and we all hopped in our trucks, drove from Jupiter to Baltimore, and we cleaned up trash for 3 days in Easterwood district of Baltimore. 30 minutes on ground of our first day of our cleanup, 2 gentlemen, brothers, overdosed right in front of us as we were picking up trash on the sidewalk. Literally dropped dead in front of us. We checked their pulse. They don't have a pulse. A lady comes running out of her house with Narcan, because they keep that at their front door in Baltimore in Easterwood district, because so many people overdose.
Because that many people overdose.
And we had our guys Narcan these gentlemen back to life, and they popped up. They started to try to fight us, and then they took off running, and the police chased them. That was Baltimore, our first day in Baltimore for our cleanup, and we picked up 26 tons of garbage in 3 days.
Wow. Well, John Work, you are an American hero, no doubt about it. You have done more charitably. You've given donations, large donations, in fact, to the sheriffs that are involved in some of this. You were just never stopping, never stopping. If we could clone you a few times, even though I don't believe in cloning, if we could clone you a few times, I think we'd have a better America. Thank you for being with us today.
Of course, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, and thank you for your service in the military as well.
Yes.
That is John Work, CEO of Blue Line Moving Company and a great American. And coming up, Tony Fauci, star of a new documentary.